Well, more than a dozen people from Grassy Narrows First Nation are traveling from northwestern Ontario to Toronto right now. They're raising awareness about the impacts of mercury poisoning on their local river system. The contamination dates back to the 1960s and 70s, and when the Dryden paper mill dumped about 9 tons of mercury into the river. Last summer, a study found youth from Grassy Narrows are 3 times more likely to attempt suicide than those from other First Nations in Canada. Residents believe mercury is poisoning behind that statistic. The caravan is expected to arrive in Toronto on Monday. It will join supporters from across the province on Wednesday. So let's put this in the spotlight with Chrissy Isaacs. She's a lead organizer of the Grassy Narrows Caravan. She joins us from Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. Chrissy, thank you so much for giving us your time. I really do appreciate it.
Thank you.
I know that you and so many others have been sounding the alarms. You've been championing behind this. Talk to us about the caravan, the upcoming events, as you make your way to Toronto.
So we started this caravan on Monday. We've been stopping along the way, like in communities, sharing information about the mercury poisoning, letting people know, that the poisoning is still ongoing, and that we're making our way to Toronto for September 18, where we're gonna march from Grange Park to Queen's Park to voice our demands. Mm-hmm. And those demands are, that we need compensation for everybody in our community. Mm-hmm. And another demand is that we want the mill shut down so that our people could stop being poisoned, and no logging or mining in our traditional territory.
This has impacted the community for decades. You have had a direct impact with regards to your family. Can you talk to us a little bit more about that and what more you're hearing from community members? So many of them feeling sick, so many of them having such long-term effects. It's extremely difficult to function.
Yeah, mercury poisoning is actually like a progressing disease. So like for me, for instance, I was one of the babies that was born at the peak of the mercury poisoning. And I was born with mercury in my bloodstream, or in my blood. Health Canada at the time had taken samples from the umbilical cords from babies that were being born. Mm-hmm. And there was a lot of babies that were born with like high amounts of mercury in their blood. And so throughout our life, we've had issues. And mercury poisoning, like in the studies they're finding, is there's a lot of different ways that it affects the body. There's like physical effects. So like there are people that will have tremors, blurred vision, hard of hearing, and like similar symptoms to like Lou Gehrig's disease.
Which is
where some people,
extremely difficult, especially when you talk about children having to also go through this. As you mentioned there, you were a child of this, and suffering through it. What have you heard from the government? We know that they've talked about funding. We know that there's supposed to be a Mercury Care home that's supposed to be built to help those that are suffering. What is the situation with regards to that? What is the government saying?
Well, the Mercury home is in the process of being built now.
Okay.
And then there's been some money that was given, for scientists and engineers to see how they could clean up the river. But that's how they found out that, like when they're doing the testing in the waters, they found out that the mill was, there's sulfate going into the water, which mixed with mercury becomes even more lethal. Mm-hmm. So like in the whole 50 years, we're still being poisoned. Mm-hmm. So our children are still being affected today.
I've just got a few seconds left, Chrissy, my apologies. But before I let you go, the importance of the land, the sacred land, and it's how that is important, and the water, and all that is encompassing. If you could give us, briefly let Canadians know how critical that also is, of course, to the First Nation.
Yes, well, you know what? The river is our way of life.
Mm-hmm.
We've always been a part of that river. It's been a source of our food, and it was a job for our people. And it's very sacred. Like, it has our medicines, and
well, it's everything to you, as you say. It's entrenched in all of your traditions. I wish you all the best and safe travels. We'll be following the story indeed, Chrissy, and I really appreciate you giving us your time to talk to us on what is an incredibly important issue. Chrissy Isaacs is the lead organizer of the Grassy Narrows Caravan. She joined us from Sault Ste. Marie in Ontario. Chrissy, thank you again for this.
Thank you.